also. Too long have African Americans in Oxford felt almost like the forgotten people whenever reference to the history of Emory University, Oxford College, or the town of Oxford is made. Those slaves were brought here to Oxford to provide free labor for the construction of the physical structures and provide for the college and the homes and even this building that we are in today. However, those slaves contributed more, much more than their labor. Time will not permit me to mention all of them. However, there is one I feel compelled to mention, and I think you will understand why. I want to mention that this will demonstrate the extraordinary love, devotion, and support these enslaved persons of color had for Old Emory. During the fall of 2001, students in the Critical Perspectives on a Region, the American South, Social Science 209, taught by Dr. Martha Auslander here at Oxford, they began to explore early history of Rush Chapel, United Methodist Church, just a few blocks from here. Each student was assigned a name of one of the founding members, taken from the cornerstone of that church, and was to research the history of that individual. One of the students was assigned Robert Bob Hammond, H-A-M-M-O-N-D. That student's name is Candace Kaufman, and I believe Candace is here with us today. If so, Candace, would you please stand?
She's ready.
Thank you, Candace, for being here, and thank you for the research you did on Mr. Hammond. And I'd like to read briefly a part of her paper that she wrote. I never asked you, but I hope you got a head on it. Robert Bob Hammond's Faithful Official by Candace Kaufman. Upon reading the headstone of Robert Bob Hammond, one learns vital facts, including his birth in 1858 and death in 1923. More importantly, one may begin to understand the high regard and affection held for this man of color by the entire Oxford community. The marker, perhaps the finest in the historically African-American section of the city cemetery, include a touching inscription, Faithful Official, a token of respect from Emory men. At that time, the college was an all-boys school. Robert Hammond served 42 years as head janitor for Emory College, in addition to being one of the founding trustees of Rush Chapel. Robert Hammond was born to Charles, a day laborer, and Melissa Alondrius, both of Georgia, and shared his childhood with one brother and 5 sisters: Raymond, Mary, Edie, Carrie, Irene, and Frances. On February 6, 1883, he married Amanda Moore of Georgia. The Hammonds had no children, but did enjoy 40 years of marriage. Although Robert Hammond died in 1923, his memory continued to live on in the minds of the scholars of Emory College. In 1966, the class of 1913 dedicated a tree and erected a bronze plaque in front of Few Hall here on the campus at Oxford. And these items were to honor the memory of Bob Hammond and Billy Mitchell, who together contributed 95 years of faithful and efficient service to Old Emory. Just as the students thought of Bob Hammond, he also remembered them, as demonstrated by the actions of his wife. As Emory College moved to Atlanta, the campus at Oxford became an Emory Academy. After a few years, the board decided to elevate the academy status to a junior college and called for $100,000. In an article that Candace located and is now in the library, From that time period, Bob Hammonds appears at the end, if only in spirit. At the onset of the movement, Amanda Hammonds, the widow of the faithful old janitor, Bob, offered without solicitation $100 as a contribution to the proposed fund to build dormitories at Oxford College. This gift speaks volumes for the love Bob Hammonds had for education and old memory. Now, it should be noted that Bob Hammond was born in slavery, could not read or write. But he knew the value of education. Where else would such a generous gift from such a source be possible? Incidentally, one of the descendants of Robert's brother, Raymond, is now the president of Harvard College. As I said earlier, we African Americans in Oxford have dreams too. Our dream is this, that one day the Board of Trustees of Emory University will authorize the establishment of a full scholarship for any descendant of those known slaves who lived in Oxford, Georgia. I'm aware of the cost of establishing an endowment or chair, scholarship. And I've been reminded by members of the university system. JP costs a lot of money. I said so. I can say that because I don't have it. However, if you just think with me one moment. If that gift in 1923 of $100 had been invested in Coca-Cola that was owned at that time or had just been sold by the Carroll family who lived here and worked here, would we be talking about the cost of establishing a scholarship? There's another interesting fact. There was another company in Newton County. Some of the older ones remember this. It was located out near the railroad track as you come from Covington into Oxford on Highway 81 or Emory Street. This company bought and warehoused cotton after it was ginned, and they held it there until the price was right, and they sold it at that time to the textile mills in the northern states.